crawl in your cabinets, and they're like on your plates at nighttime. So, you know, and they're in your food, they're in your refrigerator. Like, good morning, my lovelies, my beauties, my friends. My name is Christina and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, thank you so much for clicking on this video. I really hope that you will subscribe, stick around, take a chance on hearing some things that I have to say. And if you are a returning subscriber, y'all already know, y'all are my babies. So first, can we talk about this sign? How flip-flopping cute is this? I made this. I did. I sure did. I actually bought this little kit from this company called Chalk Couture. I will leave the link down below if you want. I think it's so cool because, like, if you want to make something like this, maybe with your kids or your spouse or whatever, and get like a project that you can make, they send you everything. They send you the stencils and the paint and the everything. So I don't know, it's really cool and really fun, and I thought it was super appropriate, so I will leave it linked down below if you want to check it out. So today I wanted to do like I think this is going to be a fun video. I want to say sometime last year I saw a video kind of like this. It was like a young girl. I don't remember who she was. I wish that I did so I could give a shout out, but I saw a video, I come across a video or something like this, and I thought it was interesting because a lot of the things that I could relate to. So I wanted to make a video about little things that happen or you do when you're growing up poor. These situations are going to be in a spread out, different households, different things that I went through, different things that I've seen. I actually called a couple of my girlfriends to get some ideas from them because I know that they grew up poor as well. So shout out to you two ladies. But okay, so let's get started. The first thing that I remember about growing up poor was this place called the Manna Food Bank. Now, I don't know if they have those all across the US, but they had it in the town that I lived in. And what you do is you go there and they give you these big boxes of food. And yeah, it's free food. And sometimes the boxes are damaged. Sometimes they are like labelless food, labelless food, like peanut butter or crackers or whatever, and like, so like everything will have the same label, right? And it'll be like, you know, a box of crackers, saltine crackers, a big tub of peanut butter, a big thing of cheese, and it all has like this white label on it. So it's like labelless food, but hey, it was free food, so we took it. The next thing that I remember about growing up poor is heating the house in the wintertime. And the way that we did that was to leave the oven open. And now that I think about it, especially like the house that I live in now, I don't live in a humongous house. I mean, it's a 3-bedroom house, but there is no way that I could heat this house by just leaving the oven open. Have any of y'all ever done that? Did your grandma do that? Do you know what I'm talking about? If you did, leave it down below. We also would use like space heaters and like sleep really close to them. And I'm just thinking like how dangerous that was now, because if like a blanket touched those space heaters, it could have caught on fire. And we also used heated blankets, which I don't even know, do they still have those? Yeah, so no heater in the house. We had to heat our house by those ways. Another thing that I remember about growing up poor is like snacks. Like for snacks, like we would do things like eat hot sauce on crackers. Now I think about it, like I would, hot sauce on crackers, not very tasty, but you know, when you need some flavor and then you need some crunch, or you need like something that's gonna be substantial on your stomach, hot sauce and crackers, that's what we did, hot sauce and crackers. We also used peanut butter on crackers and stuff too, but you know, sometimes you're out of peanut butter. Another thing that I remember about growing up poor is not having an AC in the car and always riding with the windows down. Now, does that mean if you have a car that doesn't have AC in it that you're poor? No, but that's just something I remember as a kid, like always being hot in the car. I grew up in Florida and it just being stifling hot all the time. And you go and you get in the car and like, it's just, you're rolling the windows down, you gotta crank them down because you can't breathe in there, and then like you're just like, hurry up, like start driving, like I need some air, it's so hot. Yeah, yeah, no AC in the cars was definitely one that I'll never forget. Another thing that I remember about growing up poor is like the welfare cheese and peanut butter. Now that cheese was good cheese. The big block cheese, you know what I'm talking about. Cutting it off. I mean, the block of cheese was humongous, and using like, oh my gosh, that too. Do y'all remember those cheese cutters that was like, I'm gonna find a picture and pop it up right here. It was like, you know, just like a little metal string, and then just like cutting the cheese with it. I don't think that had anything to do with being poor, but I do remember those. But like having the big blocks of welfare cheese and the welfare peanut butter was so good, because you'd pull the top off of it and there'd be like that grease at the top, and you had to stir the welfare peanut butter. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you guys know? If you don't, then that stuff was some good stuff. It really was. Another thing that I remember about growing up poor is like not having any AC in the house, and always having the doors open and the windows open, and having like these big boxed fans. You know those white fans? You can actually get them from like the dollar store or Walmart. Having those in the windows. And for some reason, everywhere that I always went, the fan would be blowing out. And I was always like, why isn't the air blowing in? And then people would say, because you got to get the hot air out of the house. So you're in the house and you're always hearing the fan blowing. So, okay, you've got the winter, you've got the heat from the oven, and in the summer, you've got the air from the fans in the windows. And that's just how it rolled. You know, AC is such a luxury. When you think about it, like, there's many parts of even the United States, but especially the world, that people never feel AC. They don't have it. They just don't have AC. And, you know, for me to, like, I don't know. It's just crazy to think about. It's just crazy. Okay, guys. Another thing that I remember about growing up poor is the rats and the roaches. Let me tell you what. Listen. It's not the big roaches that are scary. No, because you can see them coming. I mean, of course, yes, you don't want them flying around landing on you, because that is awful, and everybody in the house is going to be running and screaming. But the little ones, those little German roaches, are the worst, because they're the ones that can like crawl in your cabinets, and they're like on your plates at nighttime. So, you know, and they're in your food, they're in your refrigerator. Like, I remember being in certain areas or certain places when I was a kid that like at nighttime is when the creepy crawlers came out, honey. And let me tell you what, when you turn the light on in the middle of the night, roaches go scattering everywhere, because they just come out of nowhere. And it doesn't matter how clean your house is, you've got roaches because of the area you live in. And to actually have like somebody come out and spray and have extra money for that was just not, it just wasn't an option. So you had to deal with the roaches. And okay, and while we're talking about the roaches, we're going to talk about the head lice. Another thing about growing up poor is like in the neighborhoods that I grew up in, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them, everybody had head lice. All the kids had head lice. Every time you walk around, kids are scratching, they're spreading it to each other. You know, if you get rid of one head lice, one household has head lice, they just go outside and get it from the next kids. So everybody always had bugs, head lice. And I remember every time I had to get treated for head lice was like a nightmare, because like you guys see, like I have big, thick hair, and to get rid of head lice, you don't just treat your hair. You have to literally pick the nits out, the eggs. Ew, and you think about it like now, like you're picking bug eggs out of your hair. Hey, listen, it's just what it is. Another thing that I remember about growing up poor is just like mayonnaise sandwiches, mayonnaise and tomato sandwiches, cheese bread, you know, just putting in the oven a piece of bread, slap some cheese on it, and eating that. And, you know, I don't know what else to say about that. Just little things like that we did that to eat and to get by. I mean, it's not like, oh my gosh, we're struggling, all we had was bread and cheese. But I mean, sometimes all we had was bread and cheese, or, you know, mayonnaise. I mean, lunch meat wasn't always there, and sometimes it was a mayonnaise sandwich. Another thing is saving all of the packets when you go. Like when you go to Arby's, you're gonna get all of the packets. I need extra sauce, please, extra sauce. Or when you go to like McDonald's, I need extra honey mustard barbecue sauce, and then having a drawer full of them. Now, I know that some people that, you know, are not growing up poor have a condiments drawer, but like that's what we had. When we needed ketchup, we had to use those little ketchup packets. Another thing I remember about growing up poor is having multiple people in a room. And I don't mean just like 2 people in a room, like 3 or 4 people sleeping in one room. My girlfriend that I called earlier said that one time she remembers having like 11 people in one little small house. I mean, but you know what? In a lot of countries, I went to Antigua in 2009 on a mission trip, and those people live in like really small like house hut like things, and they have their whole family in there. And that is, you know, not to make fun of like, or make a joke out of, you know, saying like, okay, there's a ton of people living in one house here in the States, but like really it says something. It kind of says that like you care about each other, and it doesn't matter how many people's going to be under one roof, like nobody's going to be sleeping out in the streets. So although I remember plenty of people, multiple people in one room, multiple people in one house, at least there was still a roof over our head and other people's heads. But still, yeah, that's one thing. Like, what a luxury it is to have like your own bed in your own bedroom with your AC and your stuff in your refrigerator, right? Yeah. Another thing I remember about growing up poor is being barefooted all the time as a kid, like always barefooted, like riding bikes barefooted, like riding, you know, playing kickball barefooted. Like my precious little feet just could not take that nowadays. I'm here to tell you. I mean, I probably could have walked over coal with my feet because they were just so like, I could have probably climbed a building with those toes and those feet because you just was barefooted. And like all the kids in the neighborhoods or all the kids wherever I was at were like barefooted all the time. It's just, you know, and yeah, barefooted everywhere. Another thing that I remember about growing up poor is Halloween costumes. Always having like Halloween costumes from like other people's clothes, like making up, like I remember I was a gypsy one year because somebody dressed me up as, she put me in her clothes and like stuffed my bra and like, you know, because that's what we had. We didn't, you know, we didn't have money to go out and buy these Halloween costumes and stuff. So we made them, which was, you know, it's kind of cool thinking back at it now. And I love a good homemade costume. But, you know, back then it wasn't because I wanted to make a homemade costume. Of course, I wanted to have the cool costumes like the other kids, but, you know, that wasn't in the budget. So. And the last little thing that I'm going to talk about that I remember about growing up poor is, and now kids are doing this nowadays too, but we did it back then, is making like slip and slides out of those big blue tarps, you know? I mean, we would, as kids, we would find anything we could to have fun back then because we just didn't have like, well, first of all, there wasn't any computers whenever I was a small kid. There wasn't any, you know, electronics. There was TVs, but I remember the TVs being like the old TVs that are in the wooden boxes, you know, it almost like, let me try to find a picture and pop it up here, but like the TVs were like in the wooden boxes and like you cranked it to, golly, am I old? What in the world? I mean, I know I was born in the 80s, but yeah, so we would just find anything to have fun with, like everybody shared bikes or, you know, like I said, you know, making slip and slides with dish soap and those big blue tarps. And boy, it hurt when you hit the ground on those things because the ground is hard underneath. All right, guys, so if I missed anything, if you have any little experiences or any little things that you want to share, please leave them in the comment section down below. I would love to read them. And yeah, I hope you guys thought this video was fun and interesting. I love you guys so, so much. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.